Intel stock investors got massive news on March 12th, 2025, as the company announced its new CEO. It was searching for a CEO for several months after the board of directors ousted the former CEO, Pat Gelsinger, which many investors thought was an excellent fit for the company. And so Intel's stock price had been falling following that decision by the board of directors. This decision to hire the former CEO from Cadence Designs had caused Intel stock price to rise more than 14% on the day after that announcement, despite the fact that the broader stock market indices were down considerably. So I'm going to talk about this decision by the board of directors, get a little more information about the CEO and what it could mean for Intel stock investors, as well as update you on my buy recommendation for Intel stock, share with you if I think the stock is still undervalued despite this increase, and let you know if I think it's a buy, hold, or a sell.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
All right, so here's the initial reaction by the stock market to this decision by Intel. It's up over 14.6%. Now, a couple of things I want to highlight about this. Most notably, whenever a company makes a decision like this and removes uncertainty, it's a positive for the business. Whenever a business has a vacancy at the CEO position, it's undoubtedly causing the stock price to be lower than where it should be, because there's a question mark. And anytime there's a question mark, it causes the stock price to be lower. A question mark equals a risk. And when there is a risk, investors decrease the price they're willing to pay for a business because it has more risk. Okay. And so just by the fact that they announced they hired a CEO, it removes uncertainty and adds value to the business just on that fact alone, regardless of whether the CEO, the market likes the new CEO or not, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is the price being up by more than 14% is an indication that the market really likes this CEO. If it was just the impact of removing the uncertainty, the typical price reaction I've seen is about 4.5, maybe 5%. Just removing the CEO, bringing in somebody that the market feels neutral about. So this reaction is a reaction from a market that feels optimistic about the hire, right? The market likes the person that they hired. So let's learn more about the CEO. All right. So this announcement came on March 12th. As I mentioned, the board of directors said that over the past 3 months, the search committee considered and met with many strong leaders for the role of CEO. And on this date, they announced Lip Bhutan, and forgive me if I announced the name wrong, to be named CEO effective March 18th. As CEO of Cadence Design Systems from 2009 to 2021, he led a reinvention of the company and drove a cultural transformation centered on customer-centric innovation, which is exactly what Intel needs right now. During his time as CEO, Cadence more than doubled its revenue, expanded operating margins, and delivered a stock price appreciation of more than 3,200%, something Intel investors desperately would need, as the company's stock price has underperformed over the last 1 year, the last 3 years, and the last 5-year periods. He also knows Intel because he was a partner when he ran Cadence, and he recently served on the board of directors for Intel. So that's good news. Somebody that's familiar with the company already, because it won't take as much time getting on board, learning about the company, and implementing any changes that might need to be implemented. Also, of course, I just glossed over the fact, but it deserves more time, that Cadence stock price is up over 3,200% during the time that Lip Bhutan was the CEO of Cadence Design. That's a truly impressive rate of return in that time period. It's also good that Intel is getting someone who's been CEO of a large semiconductor company for roughly 12 years. That's a lot of experience at the top job. steering the company effectively, right? It's not just experience at the top job. It's not just empty years. It's 12 years with also delivering phenomenal performance at the company. Share prices up over 3,200%, revenue increased, profits increased. That's good to hear. That's something that I can see why the stock market reacted positively. Now, Cadence Design Systems is a company that I've loosely followed over the past several years. I've made, I would say half a dozen videos about this company in that time, maybe less. So this isn't a company that I closely follow. So I can't add any more information and analysis as to how well the new CEO ran Cadence Design Systems. I can go off of the performance, and the performance over that long of a period of time, it's reasonable to assume that this is an effective CEO, someone who knows how to lead a company effectively, and someone who can steer the ship in the right direction. So let me remind you of my discounted intrinsic value per share calculation for Intel stock. I calculated its intrinsic value at $36, and the current market price, even after this increase, is $23.70. So there's still room, there's still a lot of upside in terms of the intrinsic value per share compared to the market price. Then when I look at Intel's forward price to earnings ratio of 21, even after this increase, it's still trading at near the lowest valuation it's traded for in the last year. Although I will say Intel stock is still risky. One of its biggest risks, having a temporary leadership team, that risk has been eliminated. Okay, so that's good. But there are other risks for Intel still remaining, still outstanding. It's losing market share in nearly every category it's operating in. It is in the middle of a multi-billion-dollar expansion in the business, in this new foundry business design. And so all of these question marks still remain. Only one of the question marks have been removed. So I feel Intel is one of those high risk, but also high reward type situations. If the CEO gets this right, steers the company in the right direction, this market is absolutely booming, right? Artificial intelligence is creating a kind of demand boom for semiconductors not seen for a very long time. So there's a massive opportunity there. Intel has the resources to capitalize on that opportunity. It just needs to figure out the correct strategy and execute on that strategy to capitalize on the opportunity, which they haven't been able to do in recent years. So all that being considered, what do I think about Intel? Is it still a buy? I think yes. I think even though it's a greater than average risk investment, I think the potential rewards are worth the risk right now for Intel stock. So I'll reiterate my buy recommendation. Actually, I put the date in wrong. It's the 13th, March 13th, 2025. I still think this stock is a buy. Hey everyone, so many of you have been asking about my investing strategy, and I'm excited to announce that I've written a book that's available for sale now that describes my 6-step investing framework for evaluating stocks. I've added the link in the description below.